Now, journalist with Accra FM Bobie Ansah has pleaded not guilty to a charge of publication of fake news. According to the police who arraigned the journalist before court, he failed to honor police invitation to assist in investigations after an allegation of publication of fake news was reported against him. Presenting the facts of the case, the police officer said Bobie Ansah accused presidential spouses of granting themselves state lands. He was picked up by the police after his show on Thursday. The Kaneshie District Court granted him a 50,000 Ghana cedis bail with 2 sureties. The case has been adjourned to the 14th of March. His lawyer, Eduji Tamaklo, spoke to the media after court.
The facts produced by the prosecution, they are saying that there had been a story done by him and 3 others, that the producers of the show, and it borders on the first lady and the second lady. Incidentally, on these 2 charges, these 2 individuals are not named as the complainants. So our question is it that the police just stood up and started investigating, or somebody came to them that they should investigate this matter? Who exactly came to the police to investigate this matter? We want to know. Is it the first lady? Because from the facts, if somebody lies about you or against your person, you are entitled to sue the person for defamation. And what is even more worrying with these charges is that I still remember the argument made by lawyer Nanado Dankwa Akufo-Addo in the Republic versus Tommy Thompson. The argument made by now president when he was then defense attorney. What is happening now? So as brothers, and thankfully all of you here are media men, it is always possible to get a story wrong. It is possible. And that is why there are civil remedies when you get a story wrong and that story injures their reputation. Are we to take it that the Ghana police is now becoming the tool for the first and second family, first lady, to remedy a reputation they claim has been injured? If we get to that point in our democracy, then we are going to destroy reputable institutions like Ghana Police. IGP Dampare, with the greatest respect to you.
Some media experts have been speaking about the situation. Executive Director of the Media Foundation for West Africa, Suleiman Abrahima, says the frequency of arrest and prosecution of persons using this law must be observed closely.
One begins to wonder, at what point should somebody act on the basis of defamation, and at what point should somebody act on the basis of publication of false news against a journalist? So what I'm saying is there is so much recklessness in our media today. Our media regulatory institution has been dormant and ineffective, and to that extent, the mechanism of self-regulation or other ways of regulating the media without, these kinds of police and security arrests and so on and so forth has been absent. But we are also witnessing a rate of arrests on the basis of false news that is becoming quite alarming. And we haven't seen that law or provision being used as much as we are seeing today. I am not therefore saying if a law was there and people were committing crime and the law was not being used, it was okay, and therefore if it is being used now, it is bad. But I think that we need to pay attention to how frequent this particular provision on publication of false news is being used.
Well, still on this story, private legal practitioner and media advocate Samson Ladi Anyeni says recent abuse of pressmen is of concern, but journalists must be responsible.
The freedoms that we enjoy are not, as it were, compromised and undermined. To be frank with you, in this regime, unfortunately under the headship of someone we have known to be a champion of human rights and the rest of them, we have seen such egregious, abuses that have happened. We have seen situations where, as a lawyer, I can tell you for a fact that you are doing helping a journalist or a media entity who clearly the state has come against. I mean, the politicians have used the powers of state to come against, and you are such a small, thing. It's difficult for you to fight effectively sometimes. But let's be frank about it, that in some of the cases that we have seen, and I will agree with Sule, and Sule doesn't mention to you that they have been doing this monitoring and they have produced the results of the clear infractions by some of the media entities. And go and check. Most of them, and the journalists, are those that have politicians supporting them even when they have done clear wrong.
Meanwhile, the minority in Parliament says the recent arrest of media personnel is a move to intimidate and force the media personnel into silence. Listen to Al-Hassan Suini, who wants to hold the National Media Commission before Parliament.
Well, like any lover of democracy, any lover of free speech, I am very, very worried. And that is why I sought this morning to make a statement on the floor of Parliament, drawing the nation's attention to the growing threat and encroachment on the independence and the freedom of the media. Unfortunately, it is still under consideration, but I still thought that as the speakership and leadership consider the admissibility of the statement, that there was a need for the House to invite the National Media Commission that is tasked with the responsibility of ensuring that media houses and media personnel practice in freedom, and also where there are infractions, they deal with those infractions, to come through the Minister of Information to brief the House on what they are doing about the growing seemingly state-sponsored attacks.
Well, you can't be sure that it's state-sponsored, sir.
Well, that's why I said seemingly state-sponsored, and it is seeming so because many journalists have suffered one form of harassment or the other at the hands of people claiming to be acting in the name of the state. So it is difficult not to see it as seemingly state-sponsored. When you speak to people like Edward Adeti, and you speak to people like the modern Ghana web journalists who, after their detention at the National Security Outfit, came to tell us harrowing stories of how they were tortured. You speak with the WhatsApp news editor, David Tamaklo. You speak with Umar Sanda of CTFM. You speak with you name them. Bobie Ansah recently. You speak with Mensa, ASEPA leader, Mensa Thompson, who, in his case, even after the publication, quickly retracted, apologized, and indicated that his hitherto credible sources got it wrong, still had to be detained for at least a night in prison. And many see, and these are all, these all involve state, institutions or people pretending to be working in the name of the state. And the prosecutions that we have seen recently, that has also led to the imprisonment of, a journalist with, I think, Power FM for 14 days in the name of the state. I mean, there was a reason why the criminal libel law was repealed. And it is an irony that in opposition and in government as Attorney General, the current president has over the years taken pride in the role that he played in repealing the criminal libel law. So it is such an irony that under his watch, all of these things have enumerated.
Deputy Majority Leader Penyo Markin says journalists must be circumspect in their reportage and must be responsible. He referenced the proliferation of blogs which are used to tarnish the reputation of others.
The appropriate platform must be used for the issue he raised. I understand he filed a statement even before waiting for admissibility, he decided to litigate his matter. But that's all right. That's all right. It's part of parliamentary advocacy. That's all right. I agree with you. But, Mr. Speaker, on the flip side, we may also have to look at encouraging our media practitioners to also have a look at the reportage, you know, especially in this era where we have a lot of bloggers. The kind of misrepresentation and all that should be of concern to all of us. We shouldn't wait for it to be us before, until you become a victim of it and all that. So please, let's look at it and encourage them to be vibrant, to report, to write the news, but to be very objective in the way they do their thing.